So Jesus is working in your life. I feel like I've seen, not like, I mean, probably more than a lot of people watching this, I've seen parts of your story because, you know, I'm friends with you guys.
Right.
Sal was one of my groomsmen in my wedding.
Yep.
You were a bridesmaid on the other side of the aisle. Did you guys get to walk together at our wedding?
Yes.
Okay.
It was great.
That's fun. I think all the couples actually got to do that at our wedding. So
It was great.
It was not planned that well.
I think it wasn't,
probably,
but then it ended up being.
Yeah, like I think you and Sal are actually the ones that like created that plan because like you guys just kind of happened to be a couple and they were like, we should just put them all together.
It was great.
And that'd be nice.
Yeah.
So I've gotten to see a lot of the ways that you've grown over the last couple of years. But if you could just summarize quickly, from the time that you moved here to Pennsylvania, which was when?
2022, August of 2022.
Okay, August 2022.
So 2.5 years ago.
You moved to Pennsylvania with your husband, Salvatore. Can you just talk about the ways that God's changed your life, like transformed things in you over those last few years?
So 2.5 years ago when we moved, I was pretty new to my faith. Like I was fully invested, but I didn't really have a lot of big challenges that made me have to rely on God a lot. So when we moved, we didn't have any friends here and stuff, and then we started coming here, which was great because I was having a really hard time not having community. And then we joined Fairview, and we had this community around us. I was starting a new career. And
what do you do for the people who don't know?
I am an emergency room nurse. I work at a trauma center, so I can take care of a lot of people, which is great. Yep. So even just in that alone, you know, like I've gone from being afraid in uncomfortable situations to kind of just trusting God that He'll equip me in that. And now I've gotten trauma certified. I can take care of stroke patients. I can take care of basically anyone that comes into the ER, which is great. But more recently in my life, I feel, so I started doing the baptisms here. So I was just serving on the host team when I started here and holding the door. But now I've become more invested in people, you know, coming to Jesus. So that's been great.
What does that look like? Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
What does it look like your role on the baptism team? What do you mean? You said you've been doing the baptisms here.
Yeah, so I don't baptize anybody. I'm there to welcome them when they come in Sunday morning. So if they're scheduled to be baptized, I'm there to welcome them Sunday morning, show them where they can get changed, sit them and their family in front of the tub, and then I help them get out of the pool. I give them some towels. I have them sign the wall. And I kind of just have a conversation with them before all of that on when they decided to get baptized, why they decided to get baptized, and what God is doing in their life. So I've been connecting with others, which has been great. And then if we don't have any scheduled baptisms, I'm there to offer spontaneous, which has been amazing because we've had so many people actually come forward and do that. So I'm there to be there for them while they take that step.
I poured too much milk.
That's okay.
I was trying to make
that looks great. It looks.
No,
I couldn't do that.
No, it doesn't.
I'm excited.
Cool. So what is I kind of interrupted you.
That's okay.
About the baptisms. Did you have more that you were going to say about that, or about where you're going, where you're going with that train of thought, or is that it? If that's it, I have a follow-up question about baptism.
Go for it.
Do you have any cool stories or specific baptisms that stuck out? You said you get to talk to them a little bit about what God
it's been really cool. We've had father and son baptisms on the same day. They're the name Walter, both of them. Walter nice. And Walter Jr.
Walter Shirkus.
Yes.
The goat drummer.
Yep.
Yep.
So that was pretty special, you know, to be able to see them both accept Jesus into their life forever on the same day. That was amazing. And then more recently, we've had some, like I wasn't even there that week then when Tiani got baptized, and it was her first time in church, and she just felt a call, and that wasn't even, it wasn't even me there to do it. I think you helped, and John and Sal.
I didn't help. I think it was John and Sal mostly.
Yeah. So that's just amazing, people just taking that step. It's like really special.
How has that encouraged you in your personal walk?
It's just helped me realize, it's all God, nothing about me. So since I've joined and gotten the responsibility to be part of the baptismal team, I have the responsibility to book people for holding the wand, or if I'm not there that week because I have to work, just have that stuff covered. And I can get worried, what if I don't have a volunteer? No one can do it. I just realized it's not about me. The baptism is going to happen either way. I need to stop stressing on those little things and just continue to let God have all the glory and make it happen.
So, that's good stuff. What kind of things have you been doing in your personal life outside of church, outside of, I know you've been pretty involved in young adults, you've been pretty involved in baptism like you've been talking about, but what personal disciplines have you been working on lately?
So lately I'm trying to focus more on God, especially during this Lent season. I can definitely be on my phone, especially in the morning before I have my Bible time. So I do read every day, but I'm trying to put God first in that. And reading every day is a big discipline for me, whether it's a chapter or a few verses, or I'm doing a Bible plan on the Bible app. That's something big. Prayer is also big in my life. Definitely just focusing on gratitude rather than things that I want or need, and just praying to God continuously throughout my day. Especially recently, my work was going to close. They were giving us 8 days notice, so there was a lot of anxiety and uncertainty around that. So I kind of just had to focus and be well, this is a job that I have, and I've been blessed to have it, and I will get another job, in whatever due time. And just rather than being anxious, because I can sit in that and spiral, and just being present and grateful for what I have rather than being anxious and thinking about the future and I can't control it.
Yeah. So you said was in past tense. Is that those 8 days have passed?
Yeah.
So where is God leading you?
Those 8 days have passed.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about it, or you don't?
No, it's fine. We don't really know a lot of specifics. A foundation that is so I work in Delaware County. There's the foundation of Delaware County that put in money toward our hospital for funding, and then we are getting our nonprofit certification soon, but we need a funder to the end of the summer, and I guess there's a group of doctors from Penn, Christiana, and Jefferson that are going to fund us through the summer.
Okay, so you're still at your
I'm still at my current job, which is great.
Well, that's good, because that's God answering some prayers.
Oh, he did, for sure. And during this whole thing, I have a couple of coworkers that I'm pretty close with, and, we text. And they don't have a faith. So I was just able to share mine through that and just share some verses and just have them know, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You just have to trust in him, and hoping that will lead to further conversations about Jesus.
So they talk a lot about churches as hospitals for sinners or broken people, whatever. What does it look like in an actual hospital where people can be pretty desperate sometimes, especially in a trauma unit?
Yeah.
And you're a Christian, and you can't, I don't know how much you can talk about your faith or how much you're allowed to do that stuff.
I don't know either.
Okay.
They don't really say that.
Okay.
We just have to be open to everyone's faith and their identity and their culture. But definitely, I've walked into rooms where they're having a prayer circle, they're preaching, and I've been able to join it, which is amazing. I've had pastors as patients, and it's funny because they start to talk to me about Jesus, and I'm oh, I'm saved too. So then it's just great. It's a great conversation. But I do try to trickle it in sometimes if someone's having a especially hard time, like I do wear my cross to work kind of as a conversation starter. Like, hey, I believe in Jesus, and like if you do too, like, you can experience so much more. You'll still have these troubles that you're going through, but you'll have an everlasting hope.
Yeah. Do you feel like, so that's obviously an encouragement to like the people around you. How does your faith encourage you or keep you going throughout the workday in a place where people, one, need Jesus and don't know it, two, like they're looking for something, I'm sure a lot of those people, like, but like, so you can pour out, but how do you stay encouraged yourself?
So by prayer a lot, before I walk into a room that I know is going to be a hard situation, I usually pray like, God, give me the strength. And like, I know that I'm equipped to do it because he has equipped me, but also having community, like going to young adults and having like you and Lauren and John and Shannon, like, and Sal, like them talking to me and encouraging me, being around community, like really just fills me. Also serving, it fills me to the point where I can like pour out to those around me for sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
Were you saved already when you started working? Okay.
I was a nurse's aide and I wasn't saved then. But
was that has things been different? Like obviously your job's a lot different as a nurse than a nurse's aide. But like, do you feel like you look at the world differently than you did back then?
Yes and no. I've always been kind of like a positive person, but it has in ways that like when I was an aide, I worked in a rehab, so it was a much different environment. I saw people get better, whereas now like I see people get worse. So I never saw anyone pass or anything, whereas now like I on the daily see people pass away. So it's just such a different environment, but I would say like I wouldn't be able to do what I do without my faith. I don't know how people do it.
Yeah.
And I see that people compensate in other ways, like when they go home and they, like have a glass of wine or something like that, which is, I'm not shaming that. But for me, it's just relying on Jesus, and I'm just grateful to have that for sure.
Yeah. So you talk to your coworkers a lot about like church, at least, and it sounds like a little bit about your faith. What kind of advice do you have, or do you have like a script in your head that you are going to intentionally bring it up? Like how can other people do that at their work?
So usually, like I think the easiest way is to talk about events at the church. Like that's like a gimme right there. Yeah. Like we're doing the young adult thrift. I have like little cards for it. I've just been leaving them on the counters at work, like hoping people will see it. And then just like first, I think you need to, if you want to dig deeper, like establish a good relationship with your coworker or you're like a patient or just anyone around you, and then you can just ask them a question like, do you have a faith? Like that's just like a great starter. And then
has anyone ever been mad that you've asked that question?
No.
Okay.
No, it's good. I actually work with a lot of people that have they're in the Muslim faith. Okay. So it's really good to just see like what they believe, because right now, especially with Ramadan, like I'm like, oh, you haven't eaten all day, and they're like, well, I can't. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's great to just be able to share like what I believe versus they believe, because then like it gets both of us thinking, and like you can just dive deeper.
Right. Are you fasting for Lent?
I was fasting on TikTok.
Okay.
That was my first thing. However, I have not been perfect.
That's okay.
But I did delete Instagram.
You're deleting something.
I did. I was so anxious with the uncertainty with my work, and I just kept clicking it, and I was like, this isn't helping. So I was like, delete.
Yeah, I just think
and
it's
that's been great.
Like in Ramadan, like they're so disciplined.
So disciplined.
To not eat, and I'm like, man, Lent is so hard for me, and I don't even give up food. Like sometimes I'll give up something or add something.
I used to give up like chocolate milk growing up.
Right, exactly. Or like Snickers. I don't even like chocolate, so like it's an easy
right.
But like, yeah, I don't know. That's something I want to be better at in my life, is just like discipline as a whole.
Me too.
And I think that's hard, but I think like you kind of mentioned, like having people around us helps us with that. But yeah, do you have any? Yeah, I don't know. What are you trying to be better at in life? You said discipline. You said me too.
Yes, I am trying to be better with discipline. Especially, so I work 3 days a week, which is great. But on my days off, like sometimes super tired and I have to get stuff done around the house, whatever. I've been trying to be more disciplined in planning out my time,
Okay.
which has been great. I got a planner, so I kind of plan my
Whoa,
day
nice.
hourly, which is nice. But I am trying to be more disciplined in growing my baptism team. So if you see this and you want to join, let me know.
What are ways that they could help with the baptisms?
Holding the wand.
Holding the wand?
Yeah.
We have a different name for that wand like every week.
Yeah. The
And sometimes I'm
lightsaber,
like,
traffic
we should just call
controller.
it wand, but like I call it the laser beam
Yeah.
of heaven or something like
Yeah.
that.
I actually had a dream recently that it wasn't working.
Whoa.
I know.
That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I would just like jump up and down and wave or
Oh,
something.
okay. That's funny. You're dreaming about serving, so
Yeah.
if anybody wants to serve and you want to have dreams about church, this is an
Yeah.
opportunity for you.
You can also come in and greet the people that are being baptized. It's really like a 2-person job, but I could find ways to make it more than that.
You can make it like a 4 or 5 person.
Right. If you want to serve with your friend,
10 person.
do it together. That's great.
We'll find a place for it.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thank you, Lizzy, for everything you do. Thank you for sharing. I think there's power in our testimonies, so I think anytime we share it, I think it's good for us, but I also think it's good for the people around us. So I think what you said is going to help somebody. And
Hope so. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thanks for the coffee. It's really good.
You drank one sip. I drank all of them.
Well, I'm just talking.
Talking. Yapping.